With this Sealion 7, BYD brings us its most sophisticated car yet, an upper mid-sized electric SUV with the engineering and luxury to take this Chinese maker firmly into premium territory.
In this case, there are two kinds of Sealion, docile and fierce. The docile entry-level comfort version uses an 82.5 kilowatt-hour battery and is propelled by a 308 bhp single rear motor, which BYD says can run at up to 23,000 RPM, making it the world's fastest electric motor in mass production. Select the more urgent of the provided drive modes, Sport, and the base variant makes it to 62 in 6.7 seconds en route to 113 miles an hour. Select Eco, and in theory the entry-level model can take the car up to 300 miles. The other drive settings are normal and snow, which maximises traction in slippery conditions. Plus there are also two regenerative braking modes, the strongest of which isn't all that arresting. Fierce Sealion variants use a dual motor powertrain where the same rear motor is joined by a 215 bhp front motor, creating a potent total output of 523 brake horsepower. This dual motor setup can be had in the design all-wheel drive version we're trying here with the 82.5 kilowatt-hour battery that goes 283 miles on a single charge, or in top excellence all-wheel drive form with a larger 91.3 kilowatt-hour battery, and that goes up to 312 miles on a charge. The dual motor versions have a 4.5S badge on the boot lid, and that denotes the 0 to 62 miles an hour time. Top speed across the range is a most un-EV like 133 miles an hour. So there's plenty of power, but then there needs to be to tug along a curb weight that is anything between 2.2 tons and nearly 2.5 tons, depending on the number of motors that your Sealion has. Can the chassis handle all this? Well, on paper, you'd think that the signs might be good. We really like the way that the Seal Saloon handled, and BYD claims that the so-called E-Platform 3.0 EVA underpinnings, which are being used here, are even more rigid, aided, as on all the brand's models, by the way that the pioneering cell-to-body battery installation integrates the Blade battery into the entire vehicle structure. Somewhere along the way though, some of the handling sharpness that we liked in the Seal has been lost. And mindful perhaps that the Sealion would be heavier, BYD has softened the suspension setup here, double wishbones at the front and a multi-link rear axle, but rather too much, and the result of that is that the car pitches about at speed through fast corners in a manner that really discourages you from wanting to throw it about. The Sealion 7 makes a bit more of a statement than most mid-sized Chinese brand EVs. BYD says that it's taken the ocean design language previously seen on the Dolphin and Seal models and adapted it to a sporty SUV body style. What that actually means is that there's no requirement for the kind of separate coupe SUV body shape that many brands in this sector feel the need to offer. BYD thinks that one size fits all here. From the side perspective, you might agree with that. It's quite a dynamic silhouette for an SUV with a swept back rear roofline, a crisp crease rising along the flanks, which creates a dual waistline and muscular haunches over the rear wheels. At 4,830 mils in length, it's quite a substantial thing, 30 mils longer and 160 mils taller than the brand Seal Saloon. So you might quite like the outside, but earlier BYD models were a bit wacky within, exuberance that's not likely to be so well received in this more sober segment. So let's take a look. Well, there's not much here to upset folk wanting the two vibes most popular in the sector, those for Teutonic quality and Tesla-like minimalist technology. You'll feel that this Sealion veers more towards the Elon Musk end of the spectrum with this enormous 15.6-inch central screen in this portrait format. Quality seems reasonable, and the combination of smart ambient lighting, the passenger side backlit dashboard panel and the soft touch materials used for the doors, the fascia and the center console create a more premium feel than you'll find in many other models in the segment. Through the 4-spoke wheel, you view a 10.25-inch instrument screen, which, as usual with BYD, isn't quite as clear and concise as it should be and needs a bigger speedometer readout. Contents like song titles and navigational instructions can display here and on the head-up display that features with top excellence trim too. Let's take a look in the back. Will that extra body length pay dividends here? Well, yes, it feels very spacious indeed. Thanks to the generous 2,930mm wheelbase length, legroom is difficult to better in this class. Of all the rivals we've tested recently, only the Kia EV6 offers more. The back seat doesn't slide, but it does recline, and there's space for 3 adults across it, helped by the fact that the rear roofline is 160mm taller than that of the Seal Saloon. And because there's no central tunnel, it's straightforward to accommodate a central seated adult too. Out back, the powered tailgate rises to reveal a decently sized 520-litre boot, plus there's a usefully sized well beneath the floor, which you might want to use to store the charging cables. And you get 58 litres of space in the frunk beneath the bonnet. The Sealion offers an 11 kilowatt 3-phase onboard charger for AC charging, and the 91.3 kilowatt hour version can be fast charged at a DC ultra-fast charging station at up to 230 kilowatts. It's up to 150 kilowatts for the smaller 82.5 kilowatt hour battery. With most Sealion 7s, the battery can be charged from 10 to 80% in 32 minutes, a time which falls to 24 minutes with the Excellence model. As for charging from home, well, using a typical 7.4 kilowatt wall box, a full charge will need 13.5 hours for the Comfort and Design models, or 14.9 hours for the Excellence version. You may be fortunate enough to be able to charge via an 11 kilowatt wall box using a 3-phase supply, and if so, 18.6 hours will be needed for a full charge for the Comfort and for the Design models, or 9.6 hours for the Excellence version. On paper, at least, there's almost everything here you might want, not only from a mainstream brand mid-sized electric SUV, but also from something much pricier at the upper end of this class from a premium maker. In reality, it doesn't quite work out like that. The brand still needs to perfect European-style drive dynamics and more accessible infotainment technology. And also, we continue to be really surprised that a battery manufacturer as accomplished as BYD can't offer better drive range figures and still hasn't adopted the kind of 800-volt electrical infrastructure for its cars which would enable them to use the fastest ultra-rapid DC chargers. But there are compensations: sharp looks, lots and lots of equipment, a refined, comfortable drive demeanour, and more cabin space than most other cars in the segment. So, getting to know this Sealion might actually be worth thinking about. The Chinese makers are no longer merely coming, they're here, they're good, and with cars like this, they're here to stay.